The initial scene unfolds with a captivating focus on Lena, a former U.S. Army soldier turned cellular biology professor. In a highly secure containment cell, she faces intense scrutiny from lab researchers clad in hazmat suits, while a sizable crowd gathers outside, eavesdropping. Lomax, one of the researchers, probes Lena about her remarkable survival during a 2-month expedition, despite carrying only 2 weeks' worth of provisions. In response, Lena astounds by claiming she has no recollection of eating at all during her mission, asserting she was there for only a few days or a week. The scene then transports us several years before the expedition, revealing a meteor's fiery descent from space onto a lighthouse in Florida. The celestial visitor begins emanating an enigmatic radiance, gradually extending its reach. Fast forward 3 years after this celestial event, and prior to the expedition, Lena is engaged in teaching biology, delving into the intricacies of cell division and its origins. Following class, her colleague Daniel invites her to a barbecue at his house, an offer she politely declines. Daniel gently reminds her that a year has passed since her husband Kane's tragic death, urging her to spend time with friends. Despite his well-intentioned advice, Lena still declines the invitation, leaving Daniel's house. At home, grief-stricken, Lena mourns her husband Kane, a Green Beret reportedly killed in action. Unexpectedly, Kane materializes in their home, prompting an elated embrace from Lena. However, Kane's behavior is unsettling. Later, Lena grills Kane about his prolonged absence and whether he was on a classified mission. Kane appears bewildered and unresponsive to her inquiries. When she questions how he returned home, he recounts finding himself outside the room with the door ajar. Concerned by Kane's deteriorating condition, Lena urgently summons an ambulance. En route, their path is blocked by police cars, who apprehend Kane. Lena attempts to intervene but is forcibly sedated. Regaining consciousness, Lena finds herself in a government facility known as Area X. Dr. Ventris, the department head, approaches her, introducing herself as a psychologist affiliated with an organization called the Southern Reach. Ventris probes Lena about her husband's mission and his inexplicable return, but Lena remains in the dark. Lena demands answers, prompting Ventris to unveil the existence of the Shimmer, a mysterious, expanding zone brought about by the meteor's impact. If not contained, it threatens to engulf entire cities and states. Kane, she reveals, was part of a clandestine expedition into the Shimmer and is the sole returnee, with his entire team either deceased or missing. Tragically, Kane suffers from severe organ failure and internal bleeding. That night, while reminiscing about happier times with her husband, paramedic Anya approaches Lena and introduces her to her friends Cass, a geomorphologist, and Josie, a postdoctoral physicist. In turn, Lena discloses her role as a Johns Hopkins biologist. Lena probes her new acquaintances about the fate of previous expeditions into the Shimmer. Anya speculates that those who entered the zone either perished or went insane, resulting in violent confrontations. When Cass raises the subject of a military returnee, Lena remains reticent, concealing that it was her husband. The following morning, Lena approaches Ventris and requests to join the impending expedition, to which Ventris consents. In the next scene, the 5 women arm themselves and step into the Shimmer. A striking twist occurs as they suddenly wake up in a tent 3 or 4 days later, with no recollection of the interim. Their navigation and communication devices have become non-functional, leading them to rely on the sun and their sense of direction as they proceed southward. Eventually, they reach a swamp where they notice flora with abnormal attributes. Upon closer inspection, Lena makes a startling discovery: all the diverse species are growing from the same source. Meanwhile, Josie explores a small hut, only to be ensnared by a creature and pulled into the water. The group rushes to her rescue, successfully extricating her. A massive alligator then charges towards them, and Lena's military training comes to the fore as she neutralizes the threat. To their astonishment, the alligator's mouth reveals shark teeth, suggesting a bizarre hybridization within the Shimmer. Subsequently, the team boards two boats to continue their journey toward the lighthouse. Lena partners with Cass, and they share personal stories, with Lena revealing her past in the army and the tragic loss of her husband, while Cass discloses her own painful experiences, including the loss of her daughter to leukemia. Cass also provides insights into their team members, including Anya's struggle with addiction and Josie's previous suicidal tendencies, along with her cryptic information about Ventress, who appears to lack personal connections. After a while, they reach Fort Amaya, a military base that once served as the Southern Reach's headquarters before the Shimmer engulfed it. As they delve deeper, they encounter increasingly grotesque mutations, akin to tumors. Inside the building, they stumble upon a microchip, presumably left by a previous expedition. Upon its insertion into their device, they unearth a disturbing video featuring Kane dissecting a fellow soldier to expose a squirming, snake-like intestine. In another part of the building, they discover a soldier's upper body, severed from its lower half and engulfed by fungi. Josie becomes desperate to leave, but Ventress insists they stay due to the impending darkness. That night, Lena is plagued by memories of her husband's peculiar behavior prior to his mission, preventing her from sleeping. She investigates a cell sample she collected earlier under a microscope, only to discover that the cells are dividing at an alarming rate, far removed from the normal cellular process. Disturbed by this revelation, Lena approaches Ventress, who is keeping watch. Lena inquires about Kane's motivations for volunteering for the mission, and Ventress indirectly suggests marital issues as a potential factor. Lena realizes that her husband likely discovered her affair with Daniel, prompting his decision to join the mission. Shortly after this revelation, the group is jolted by a noise. Cass awakens and investigates the source, only to be confronted by a massive bear-like creature that seizes her. In the morning, Josie and Anya decide to return to the facility, as they've already endured 2 attacks. However, insists on continuing her solo journey to the lighthouse, unswayed by their objections. Lena, burdened by guilt, persuades Josie and Anya to press on, and they follow Ventress into the forest. A while later, they come across Cass's shoe, prompting Lena to venture further alone. She encounters 2 deer with identical, mutated, flower-adorned antlers. Her solo exploration leads to the discovery of Cass's lifeless body near a tree. In the subsequent scene, Lena rejoins her group and reports the grim situation, prompting them to continue their journey. As darkness descends, they opt to halt their progress, finding themselves surrounded by humanoid plant-like forms and bizarre flora. Josie pieces together a theory, speculating that the Shimmer operates as a prism, refracting and merging the DNA of all that falls within its boundaries. This phenomenon likely explains the crossbreeding and mutations between species. The group seeks refuge in an abandoned house to spend the night. All fall asleep, except for Anya, who becomes paranoid upon noticing her fingerprint moving. She discovers a picture of Kane in Lena's necklace and makes the shocking realization that he is Lena's husband. Fueled by betrayal, Anya attacks Lena and knocks her out. When Lena regains consciousness, she, along with Josie and Ventress, is bound to chairs by Anya. Accusing Lena of causing Cass's death, Anya threatens her life. Suddenly, they hear Cass's voice calling for help, prompting them to rush to her aid. However, the group is met by a deafening roar. Soon after, the colossal mutated bear enters the house, with Cass's voice emanating from it due to the gene fusion. The bear targets Lena, but wounded Anya intervenes with a firearm. Her attempts to shoot the bear result in the creature tearing her apart. The bear then returns its focus to Lena, but Josie manages to free herself and shoots the creature dead. Ventress, concerned she won't make it to the lighthouse with the group, embarks on a solo journey. In the morning, Lena finds Josie in the yard and discovers mutations in her blood. Josie believes that these mutations will soon manifest in everyone. She observes roots and leaves sprouting on her arms and subsequently walks away. Lena tries to stop her, but Josie eventually mutates into one of the humanoid plants. Now isolated, Lena reaches the coast and spots the lighthouse in the distance. As she approaches it, she notices a multitude of skulls and skeletons strewn about. Inside the lighthouse, she encounters another charred skeleton seated against the wall, facing a camera. Upon playing the video, she sees Kane, who expresses doubt about his own identity, with his sense of reality appearing distorted. He pleads with the person behind the camera to care for Lena before igniting a phosphorus grenade and ending his own life. In a poignant twist, the individual behind the camera is revealed to be a doppelganger or clone of Kane, a revelation that shatters Lena. Despite these revelations, Lena persists in her mission, venturing deeper into the lighthouse, where she encounters Ventress, who is undergoing a disturbing transformation. Ventress discloses the Shimmer's extraterrestrial origins and its destructive intentions. Her body gradually dissolves into a luminous formless entity, absorbing a drop of blood from Lena's face and transforming into a faceless, shimmering humanoid. In a state of panic, Lena opens fire on the entity, but it remains impervious. Lena escapes the tunnel, but the humanoid form materializes before her. Lena initially fights back, but she soon realizes that the entity is mirroring her actions, posing no harm. An idea emerges, and Lena slowly hands the entity a grenade, which it accepts. She pulls the pin and flees the lighthouse, leaving the entity to detonate. The ensuing fire engulfs the lighthouse, causing the entire Shimmer to vanish. The scene shifts to the current interrogation, with Lomax entertaining the notion of an alien presence and inquiring about the aliens' intentions. Lena contends that they had no particular objective, as they appeared to be reshaping and mutating the environment to create something entirely new. Following this revelation, Lomax informs her that Kane, upon the Shimmer's disappearance, made a remarkable recovery. Lena visits Kane's room and questions his true identity, which he doubts. However, they recognize each other, sharing an emotional embrace. As they hold each other, their eyes shimmer, suggesting they both underwent some form of mutation.